Hey friend, this is episode number 553 of the ANSO podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents ANSO with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
ANSO.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the ANSO podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get right into what has been going on in my world. First up, so much for our house build. We were able to buy an electric fireplace that we are going to insert into the wall cavity for our primary bedroom, and it already actually arrived, which is awesome. We also finally figured out the fireplace items for the main living area and the outside. So a double fireplace that just happens to just share a wall. We got a tub for one of our guest bathrooms, and we also visited a local bath kitchen store and got some pricing. We also ordered a wall fan. Instead of having a box fan on the floor for sound and noise, we found a wall fan, so it should arrive any day, and hopefully it will replace us having to have a box fan in our primary bedroom for the noise part. We've not really found a sound machine that can do the same thing, plus we like the added airflow to the room, so we're going to try this out and see what happens. Our exterior doors arrived to our local Home Depot, and that was nerve-wracking to say the least to get them to our build site. So my husband had one set on his trailer, and then we put the other set in the bed of a pickup truck and drove slowly to the job site. We made it. We got them unloaded. They look amazing, which is really awesome. So that is what has been going on in our house. For the garden, I started off the hardening off process for the onions. And I also started my tomatoes, peppers, and yarrow for 2026 garden season. I still need to pull all of the metal stakes, tomato cages, etc. out of the garden so that I can prep the space to be tilled in preparation of planting in April. And I also need to pull out my drip system because I don't want to damage it by getting the tractor back into the garden area. So lots to do in the garden. I haven't finished any books yet. I'm really close to finishing one and starting another one. And yeah, so let's talk about the course. Oh my gosh, I'm so much further than I was last week. All the modules are recorded, they are edited, and they are loaded into Kajabi, which is the course platform that I'm going to be using to distribute the course. I sent my checkout page in for review, so the checkout page for the course is done, and that is in Samcart. And now I need to build the sales page itself. And then I need to finish my final edits on the 3 to 4 course assets that are remaining to be reviewed, and then get them loaded into Kajabi. All the other course assets are edited and finalized and already uploaded into Kajabi, which is awesome. And then next I need to decide on my actual order bump item. I thought it was going to be something related to having like a cottagey flower area, but I might also consider doing my planner that I was going to be putting into the course, but now I'm going to pull it out of the course and make it a little bit more robust so that it could be either an upsell or the order bump. So TBD on that, but I need to complete whatever that is and get it into Samcart. And then the next big step is trying to figure out how to connect Kajabi, and Samcart because I don't have any idea. I realize as I'm listening back to some of this that my voice sounds funny, and it's got to be the mountain cedar. The mountain cedar is kicking my butt. Oh my goodness, my allergies are all over the place, so apologies for that. Ooh, another thing that I need to do for the course is I need to find some beta testers for it so that I can make sure it is delivered like I need it to be delivered, but also I need some testimonies to add into my sales page and checkout page. So I have one friend that has said she would take the course for me in exchange for a testimonial, and I need to find 9 more humans to do that. And that way I can get that added. Because right now I'm just showing off Sugar Creek Farms Facebook post, a few of them, where you can see the amount of produce I was actually getting out of my garden, gardening the way I'm teaching you how to garden in the course, which is stopping pests organically. Like the whole focus of the course is stopping pests organically and understanding what that actually means. But also I want to be able to have some clout that I can garden like this. I do garden like this, and here is my bounty. So, but testimonials would be really great for even if you've been a gardener for a while to go through the course to see if I can teach you something new or to refresh you, etc. So I want to find 10 more people or 9 more people, to go through the program and send me a testimonial. So right before this, well, technically 8 days ago as of this recording, I launched a jar series of unsolicited garden thoughts on my social media channels. And on January 1st, so I did not start this series until the 4th, I believe, of January, the 4th or 5th of January. So on the 1st of January, I started some nurture content to kind of help tee me up into this course launch. And then I decided to do this jar series. And so I just want to say that TikTok is coming back alive for me. I started with 1,679 TikTok followers on January 4th. I published content every day until I started the jar series. So on January 4th, I was at 1,759. So I was 20 followers short of 100 between the 1st and the 4th with that nurture content. And then I started this series. And as of this recording, I'm at 1,956. I should hit 2,000 followers today with day 8's jar content, the piece that I published this morning, which is crazy to see that kind of growth from this series or from having a dedicated series. So if you feel stuck, I would consider creating some kind of series for your content that gives people an opportunity to go exploring like future content that like you're setting the expectation that future content is coming. Obviously, there's 30 days of my jar content. So today's day 8. I have 22 more days of content coming. So I have the expectation that 22 more tips are coming. And then also they can go back into the archives and pick up where they missed or pick up where they found me. So if they found me today, they have 7 previous tips they can go watch. It is very beneficial if you aren't doing series to add a series to your content. So I will keep updated on the jar series. I already have the next series planned out, which will help support my garden course, which I'm really excited about. And that will tee up, like there will be an explainer day, and then I will launch right into what that next series will be. It won't be daily, which will allow me some time to produce more nurture content in between the series content, but it will be at minimum 3 to 4 days a week of that particular series, which I'm really excited about. And it will last me the rest of the year and into 2027 and beyond, because there's so much that can be talked about within the series that I have coming up for this specifically. So I don't know that I've had this much excitement about social media in a long time, but I finally have a lot of excitement and a plan, a clear, defined plan to help me with those 5 ones of hitting 1 million with this course in a year. So that's exciting. That's exciting. All right, let's move into search bar confessions. I Googled these things between last week and this week. Mainline header. This was specifically for my drip system. So one thing I realized during the season was I had no way to turn off a zone. So if I pulled something out of a specific row in my garden, I had no way to turn off that row from getting water without cutting my main line and splicing it closed, which defeats the purpose of having a main line that you can always use. So I need to buy some headers to add into my main rows. Then I can connect my drip tape for that row into that mainline header. So I didn't know that existed, so I taught myself. I went to Google University for that. I also Googled what to do with onion seedlings in the seed snail. So the roots have grown through the bottom, which is the expectation that would happen. But now what do I do once that happens? Do I uppot them? Actually, I just keep them in there until I'm ready to transplant them, in case you were wondering. I learned that marigolds aren't necessarily the flower part that is helping your garden. It is actually the roots under the ground that is beneficial to your garden as well. So they're bringing the beneficial insects in, your pollinators, plus your good guy bugs, but also they're helping the root system, the bad guy bugs that are sitting in the soil. And I didn't know that until recently. I Googled wall fans because we needed a solution instead of having a box fan on the floor. I Googled beet juice recipes because I have a juicer. I Googled recessed fireplaces because I was looking for something very specific for our primary bedroom. And then that led me to adding less than 4 inches to my Google search. And then it led me to using the term ultra thin. So ultra thin recessed fireplace, they exist. They can be installed in a 2x4 wall and or a 2x6 wall. And if you didn't know that, now you do. I Googled freezeless hose bibs because that was something my husband wanted to know about. I Googled how do you stop TikTok from picking songs for your stories on TikTok. That's annoying, by the way. And when it finally decides on the song for your story, you go click back on that song to turn it off. That's how you fix it. I Googled gold rocker switches. I Googled standard hearth height and depth. I Googled how to fill a raised garden bed because I don't have them and I saw somebody asking a question about what all went into them. I Googled chandeliers for a kitchen. I Googled gooseneck lights for our exterior lighting. I Googled pepper plant spacing because I couldn't remember if it was 18 inches or 24 inches. And I Googled what deters slugs in a garden because I don't have slugs, but I know people in more rainy areas fight them. And so I wanted to help somebody that was asking me a question about slugs. So I went to Google University for that too. And that wraps up this week's Search Bar Confessions. So let's move into this week's business nugget. So I settled on a word of the year. I actually settled on it a few weeks ago and decided it's going to be growth. Growth in my life, growth in finances, growth in experiences and adventure, growth in friendships and relationships, growth in strength because I feel like I have fallen off the workout bandwagon, growth in community, growth on my social medias. So I feel like growth is a really good word for me to focus on this year. But also, what are my goals for the year? And I want to know, like, have you selected what your goals are? And I want to talk about a different way to go about setting goals. So last year, I found somebody that picks their goals based on being able to do a specific thing. So one of her previous goals was, I want to stop going to Starbucks so frequently. So I'm going to teach myself how to do latte art on my own coffee beverages, and I'm going to master that in this particular year. And what is that going to do? That is going to force me to drink more coffee at home versus spending money at Starbucks. So attaching something that you learn to help you actually complete the goal you're really setting for yourself, I think that method is actually really smart, and there's a lot of weight behind it that will help you actually achieve the real goal you are aiming for. So if you want to spend more time having self-care moments for yourself, what if you decided to learn how to watercolor? Or what if you decided to learn a new granny hobby like embroidery or cross stitch? That would ultimately give you more self-care time for yourself because you are learning a new skill. I want to take this a step further. When it comes to business, so those are more like personal things that you can do for yourself. But if you have business goals, what if we reframe it and actually talk about it as an actual target? So goals are these like ideologies, and we create this list of goals. And if we set them as SMART goals where they can be tracked and they are actually measurable and they, there are certain things that make a goal SMART. But what if we are aiming for a primary target? So let's say the primary target for you is to make $100,000 in the year of 2026. Then everything that you do is aimed at getting to the primary target. So your primary target needs to be something that's like ride or die. I'm going to do this or I'm going to fail, because hitting the target means you succeeded. Not hitting the target means you fail. And there's no in between. You either hit the target or you don't hit the target. Whether you set yourself to gain 10,000 followers on a social media platform, if you don't hit it, then you didn't succeed at your primary target. I think taking goals in this direction, having a primary target. Now you can have secondary targets, but creating one primary target, because you can only have one in a given year or a given time period, creating one primary target and then setting yourself up to go after and tackle whatever it is that you have to do to get to that primary target becomes way more tangible than ideology of goal setting. So really, the SMART system of goal setting is what leads you to either hitting the primary target or not, because the primary target is the what. It is the single most crucial outcome of what you're trying to accomplish. It's the thing that you're trying to do, the target you're trying to hit. It's literally pull a bow and arrow back and shoot and hit the bullseye, and there's your target. Creating measurable time-bound steps to get there are the goals, the SMART goals you set for yourself to get to that target. So again, whereas goals are more broad, more aspirational, more vision-bound, the target is the outcome. Like getting to the target is the outcome. So what can you do for yourself to pick a target, a primary target for 2026? What is the big audacious target that you're pulling the arrow back in your bow and you're aiming for? Dead to rights. You are aiming for this thing. Is it 10,000 followers by 2026? Is it selling 100 copies of your book? Is it onboarding 20 new customers in 2026? Is it a revenue target? What is your target? And then you now know what it's going to take to hit that target, whether that is launching a new course, whether that is launching 10 more products, whether that is hitting social media to gain more traction, to get more traffic so that you can sign those 20 more people in 2026. Is it getting your book published so that you can sell 100 copies? What is the target for 2026? And now let's figure out what metrics, what goals you have to achieve in order to pull that bow and arrow back and hit the bullseye dead on. What is that going to be for you? Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Again, apologies for the mountain cedar sounds that I'm making for you today. And until next week, I hope you have a great rest of this one.
And throw. And talk.
Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.